Hello everyone, the World Cup is done and dusted, and for sure the 2022 World Cup will go down in history as one of the greatest we have ever seen. A whirlwind 28 days is done. I'm a bit sad and a bit relieved as well. I'm finally getting up on my rest, but what a 28 days we had. My name is Nick Maitland and this is the final World Cup watch. We'll be going through an entire tournament. This tournament was the first to be held in the Arab world, the first to be held in November, December, and the last one that will feature 32 teams because we're expanding to 48 teams from the 2026 World Cup, which will be held in our region in United States, Mexico, and Canada. Now, speaking of the 32 teams, let's take a look back at each one of them. And this is going to be a concise review, and we're going to finish with the finalists, France and Argentina. The Netherlands, I have all my notes here. The Netherlands, they topped Group A. They had wins against Senegal and Qatar. They drew with Ecuador along the way as well. Not the usual Dutch team that we're accustomed to seeing, but they have some experienced players and some players now coming in to themselves like Cody Gakpo, Memphis Depay, and a lot of others. So I think that they will do well in future competitions. Remember, Euro 2024 is happening in 2 years, and I think the Dutch will be firmly placed to do well in the European Championships. We had Senegal. Senegal finished second in Group A, and they worked hard to advance from that group without their talisman, Sadio Mane, coming into the tournament. So I thought Senegal's football was good. Africa, they represented the continent very well with their play. They went into the round of 16 and were eliminated by England, but a very courageous showing from Senegal. Ecuador, Ener Valencia was the main man for them. He really put them on the map, especially the opening game defeat of Qatar, the host, making Qatar the first host to lose their opening game. So I think Ecuador did well. Ener Valencia shrugged off some injuries to compete for his team, to captain his team, and they showed why they advanced from South America. South America notoriously very difficult to advance from in World Cup qualifying, and Ecuador did so, and they showed why they were one of the best in South America. Qatar, as we said, they lost 3 of 3, the first host nation to do that. And I mean, that was a historic feat for them. But football aside, they hosted a fantastic tournament. So kudos to Qatar. The national team needs some work, but they did well to host the tournament. What about England? England played some good football, scintillating stuff. They scored goals. They showed that they're able to score goals, but I think that their energetic midfield was good as well, and the centre-backs were good, and they were just barely eliminated when Harry Kane missed the penalty against France. Maybe they could have been in the semi-finals. Who knows? Semi-finals for 2 straight World Cups. Who knows? Who will ever know? And again, Euro 2024 is going to be very important for this group. What about the United States? They have a young team there, but the young team is full of desire, full of passion, full of running as well. And I think they just lack the cutting edge. That's why they didn't really get past. But not really. That's why they didn't get past the Dutch in the round of 16. And I think if they had a striker, someone banging in the goals, they could have gotten further in the competition. But that is the United States of America. Iran, they had good organization in their team and good teamwork as well. But again, quality was the issue with Iran. They did well to get the 2-0 win over Wales. But other than that, there was nothing really doing for Iran. They were smashed, remember, 6-2 by England. Wales, led by an aging, past his prime Gareth Bale. I never expected Wales to do much in this World Cup, and they proved me right. I think that the rear guard, the old guard now for Wales, a little bit too old now, and they need to freshen up the team. Good accomplishment to get to the World Cup, but having got there, didn't really put up much of a fight. Poland, another team led by an old stager, but the difference is Lewandowski. Compared to Bale, Lewandowski is still mainly in his prime, and he was able to lead them into the round of 16. He still offered something, offered good entertainment as well. Wojciech Szczesny was one of the best goalkeepers in the tournament. So Poland still came on the world stage and gave us something, even if they left with nothing. Mexico again came on the world stage and gave us something. Guillermo Ochoa once again shows his World Cup chops, and he delivered some magnificent saves and great goalkeeping as well. And I think Mexico, hard done by not to get into the round of 16. They were eliminated by goal difference. Poland went through instead of them, and they will feel hard done by. That is how football goes, and they did not get the requisite points, and so they went home. But I think Mexico's still impressed, and did well on their way on the world stage. Saudi Arabia, apart from an opening day 2-1 win over Argentina, I don't think they really flattered to deceive. They gave us a great World Cup moment. But other than that, really nothing else. They were basically the home team because Saudi Arabia is right next to Qatar. So they had tremendous support in Qatar and they played well. They played entertaining, high energy football. But again, lacking the cutting edge, lacking the quality, they weren't able to get out the group. They finished last, but they will take that 2-1 win over Argentina forever. Then we had Australia. Australia lost to France in their first game, but they battled hard to get 2-1-0 victories over Tunisia and Denmark, and then they went into the round of 16. So I know that Australia made all those Aussies back home who had to wake up at ungodly hours to watch them. I know that they made all the Aussies home proud, and they indeed made themselves very proud in this tournament. Tunisia, another one of the African heartbeats, they did well to get a win, a draw, and a loss in this group. They won over France, the world champions, and like Saudi Arabia, they will take that victory to the bank. They will keep that and tell their grandchildren all about that victory over France at the World Cup. But Tunisia, they represented Africa's heart at this World Cup, and I think they played some good football as well. Denmark, they did not play well. They struggled for the majority of the tournament. I think that the result against France, where they came back and equalized, I think if they got a draw from that game, they would have been able to push on and do well in the tournament. But Kylian Mbappe killed that dream, and Denmark just went out of the group, last in the group. And I think that they have to do some real analyzing as to why their World Cup campaign went so horribly. Let's move on. We have more teams to cover. What about Japan? Japan defeated Spain and Germany in the group phase. No one expected that. And I think that Japan's victory really and truly signaled the end of tiki-taka, the end of possession-based football, and the emergence or resurgence of counter-attacking football. We see how effective counter-attacking football is most of the time. And possession football, we realize you just have to hit the team on the counter and you can get the victory. So Japan proved that, and they beat Germany and Spain. Historic tournament for them. Again, some great results for the lesser teams they will cherish for the rest of their lives for sure. Spain, I think they thought they won the World Cup after beating Costa Rica 7-0. They didn't really offer much afterwards. And of course, Spain then out in the next round, Morocco defeating them. No one expected that. But Spain, I think they need also to go back to the drawing board. Luis Enrique left his post as manager. So that means there's going to be a big shake-up in Spanish football. Sergio Busquets also announced his retirement. So again, a big shake-up in Spanish football. Another team that needs to go back to the drawing board is Germany. Oh my goodness. I put down Germany's unfortunate situation to Hansi Flick, the manager. I think that his team selections were really, really bad and he put the team on the back foot. Against Spain, he got the team selection halfway right with his substitutions. But I think that if he had started better, he would have got the points against Spain and then got the points against Japan and possibly gone through in the group. But who knows? Who will know? Euro 2024 is a tournament that Germany will host, and they will be hoping to win that, but it will be a long way from victory for them if they play the same kind of football they did in Qatar. Costa Rica, they represented CONCACAF, and I think they really tried. They got the victory over Japan, and their golden generation is getting a bit old. So I think that was part of their problem as well. But kudos to them for making it this far from CONCACAF, and we always must support our CONCACAF teams. What about Morocco? A strong team. Strong team. They play for each other. They defend well, defend marvelously, full of energy, full of running. And to me, they were one of the best teams on show in Qatar. Unfortunate that they went out in the semi-finals to France. I really hope that Morocco could have got to the final, but they did not. But a strong team, and all of them will be proud. And I'm telling you, all of them, if not most, will get moves in January or in the summer because all the big clubs were watching and they will be on the radar of all those big clubs. Croatia, Luka Modric again led Croatia to the semi-finals where they were defeated by the eventual winners Argentina. And I think that Luka Modric can hold his head high. Part of one of the best midfields we've seen. Marcelo Brozovic and Mateo Kovacic as well in that midfield. A silky smooth yet battling and tough tackling midfield. And it was a joy to watch Croatia at this World Cup. And out of 6 appearances They finished in the top 3 on 3 occasions. Big ups to Croatia. They are truly a World Cup team and a world-class team. Belgium, it was a sad end to their golden generation. They did not get out the group. The only shining light for them was the goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois, who I believe still is the best, if not one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Canada were eager and excited and a little bit too overconfident. I think that to be champions, you have to have an air of humility about you. And I think this young team did not have that, but they are young, which is on their side. Time is on their side, and they will do well in future CONCACAF tournaments for sure and future world tournaments. Let's talk about Brazil. Brazil were the big favorites coming in, but I don't think they really impressed me. They gave us some moments, great moments in the World Cup, great goals as well, great performance against South Korea in the round of 16, but I think that they're flattered to deceive, and their old guys are getting a bit too old, and the young guys don't have enough experience, and there wasn't any real players to bridge the gap there. Brazil entertained us, but that was all they did. Switzerland, they did well to advance to the round of 16, but were undone by Portugal. I think that Real Imbolo, he announced himself to the world stage. We always knew what he brought to football, but I think he really announced himself on the world stage, and he may be in for a big move, but Switzerland, I think, did well to get into the round of 16, but they can really improve on their performances ahead of the European qualification. Cameroon, Vincent Aboubakar, he scored against Brazil in their 1-0 win, and he took off his jersey and he was booked. He got a second booking and he was sent off. It was a real comical moment and one of the moments of the World Cup. So I can give Cameroon credit for giving us that, but other than that, really flattered to deceive, but give us some entertainment. Serbia, they were unlucky not to get out the group. They showed a propensity to score goals, but just could not see out games. Portugal advanced after 2 wins in the group phase, but for all their talent and for all the quality on the pitch, I don't think that they really impressed anyone at the World Cup. They played good football. Bruno Fernandes impressed Rafael Leao, João Felix, Cristiano Ronaldo had his moments as well. Gonzalo Ramos had a hat-trick against Switzerland in the round of 16. But we always expected more from Portugal, and then they were shackled by Morocco in the quarterfinals. So that was all she wrote for Portugal, but we're expecting more from them. They have some quality players, some of the best in the world in the forward positions. South Korea, with their energetic football, they got into the round of 16, but I think they ran out of gas when they played Brazil. They did well to get through with this group with Uruguay and Ghana. Uruguay and Ghana, their international rivalry ended in a 2-0 win for Uruguay, but that was it. Uruguay did not go through, and they did not do so because of what? Yellow cards. They're disciplined. If they had one less yellow card, they would have gone through instead of South Korea and probably would have been a better match for Brazil. But that's how the World Cup goes. You have to be disciplined and you have to defend well and you have to score goals. Let's talk about the finalists. Let's talk about the losing finalists now, France. France, to me, were never impressive throughout this tournament. I think they were led by Kylian Mbappe for a lot of the tournament. They were assisted by Giroud, who became the highest scoring French player of all time, and Antoine Griezmann, who was their creator-in-chief. Effective in the group stage, they got through the knockout round luckily versus England, and I think luckily versus Morocco, who were tired in that game, but they were always a threat, and I think in the final, they were punched in the mouth early by Argentina. They conceded the penalty and the counter-attack. But Mbappe, I think Mbappe is the next best player in the world. If you think Messi is too old and his generation is done, then Kylian Mbappe is the best player. He had a hat-trick in the final, the first person to score a hat-trick in the final since Sir Geoff Hurst in 1966. So this young man, I don't want to see he's going places. He's already on the top of the top. He's 24 years old and so much more to come from him. Argentina, I doubted them. I doubted them after their first game against Saudi Arabia. I doubted them against the Dutch. I even doubted them against Croatia. But it was written in the stars for them, for Lionel Messi, to crown his career, his tremendous, his fabulous, his great career with the World Cup as a World Cup champion. He says he's going to play on as world champion, and we are eager to see him do so. Argentina, the best team in the world. They hold bragging rights over every single team in every single confederation. No one is better than them. They proved it in the final, and they just had the fortune, the good favor, the grace to win that game against France. France will feel unlucky. France will feel very sad that they could not be back-to-back winners of the World Cup. But I'm sure with Didier Deschamps at the helm, or whoever will be at the helm, they will be back in a major final soon from now. Whether it be the Nations League, whether it be the European Championships, whether it be the World Cup again, they will be in a major final. And these two teams gave us a final for the ages and a World Cup that we will remember forever. I said that this World Cup was just as good as the 2006 World Cup in Germany, which really made me fall in love with the game. And I'm sure that this 2022 World Cup in Qatar made many people fall in love with the game. Thank you so much for joining us and journeying with us for this entire World Cup campaign. I hope you get some sleep. I hope you get some rest. On behalf of Nick Maitland and all the team, it's goodbye and be good. If you can't be good, be great. And if you can't be great, be grateful.